Live on AM 970. The Answer. Frank Morano.
Well, it's not Frank today.
That's right.
It's Mert and Brian today.
Oh, yeah. There's no Sammy the Rooster as well.
No Sammy the Rooster. He took that rooster with him to Staten Island.
All right.
But I have to say this before anything.
Yeah. What is that?
I want to thank Frank Morano.
Of course.
I want to thank Jerry Crowley. I want to thank Phil Boyce. And I want to thank Matthew Sambola.
Wow.
Because all these white men believed me. Now listen.
Come
now
on.
Listen.
Are you going to start with this already?
Whoa,
I thought you said there was going to be no racial element to this program.
I'm getting into that because
All right.
Management came to me on Friday. They said, Mert, we know you're a loose cannon. They said, Mert, we know how wild you can get with the race talk. We know how you can incite people.
Mm-hmm.
Tone it down.
Yeah.
They said, no talking about race unless you are provoked. So if anybody out there has anything they want to say about race, debate me on anything about race, call up and we can do that.
Otherwise, you're not going to go there.
Okay. I'm not allowed to.
Oh, you're not allowed.
Now, Brian, you could talk about it.
Oh, I can talk.
If you provoke me, I can go into it as well.
I really can't talk. If you can't talk about it, believe me, I can't talk about it.
They said, Mert, you got a lot of talent, kid.
Okay.
You got the gift of gab.
That was the management of this station said that.
Yeah, they said that.
I can't imagine they said that.
They said you got a lot of talent, kid.
All right.
But don't go on these airwaves inciting people and making them do things they wouldn't normally do because there's some crazy man on the air getting people in a humbug or whatever.
Oh. Six like the highway. Bertavius, you, speaking of Times Square, you and your friends, as you said on the Morano Show before, like to go to Times Square and pursue older women.
Whoa.
Are those women?
Whoa, Charlie. Whoa. No, I don't go to Times Square. I go to some of these rooftop parties and stuff like that and meet them there, where they're nice and dressed up.
Oh, in Manhattan or where?
Manhattan, all over the place. I'm not going to
How old would those women be?
Well, let's just
They're
say
called cougars, right?
Yeah, let's just say, we can get up to 15 years older. Let's just say that.
Right, so in their 40s, and this is an interesting pursuit. You call it cougar hunting. You and your buddies go, and of course you don't smoke or drink, which means you could be a great fighter like Larry Holmes, and you guys are both great radio fighters.
Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, what is one of your lines, one of your pickup lines that maybe I could use with women in their 80s since I'm a senior citizen?
Charlie.
I can't wait to hear this.
Charlie, listen. You don't use lines. You just be sincere and honest. That's what I do. I'm always sincere and honest with them. I say, you're so beautiful. I don't know how a guy like me, Mertavius, is with a woman like you. If I could be anywhere in this place, I wouldn't choose anywhere else to be but with you. That's
so you don't say, if I said you had a beautiful body, would you hold it against me?
Listen, you got to be careful today. I don't know if 80-year-old women would be into the Me Too movement, but you might get caught if you try to say something like that. So you got to be careful with that kind of talk.
970-2999. I see we have Michael from New Hyde Park who wants to debate Mert. Michael, don't go anywhere because the start of next hour, you're going to have that opportunity to debate Mert. And you can see what I have to deal with all the time here.
Morano, it is Mert and Brian. And Brian, don't think I didn't hear that little slip up.
Good morning. What's that?
That little slip up when you were closing out last hour. Brian and Mert. It's Mert and Brian.
Oh, okay.
This is an alphabetical order type of deal right here.
You're the more famous one on this show because they know you. Well, they have to deal with your antics on a weekly basis.
That's just because you're a good guy. You're popular.
You.
They like you, but they love me.
Oh, really?
They love me.
I know you love yourself.
Now, I'm going to follow your lead here. Do you want to go to this Michael guy who wants to debate me?
Yeah, to debate you, but this guy is ready to do it. It's Michael from New Hyde Park. Michael, you were on Morano in the morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Murph. You've always been very nice. I've called in before. I just don't see how you support Barack Obama. How do you support this guy?
Well, I'll put it to you like this. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't know a lot about politics. I know a lot about how people feel. So the fact that Barack Obama was an African American, he was black, and he made people that I'm close to. He made people in my family, in my life, feel happy and feel like they could do more than they were currently doing. I've seen a lot of black people. You might not care about it, but that's understandable. You don't sound like you're black. I've seen a lot of black people say they could do a lot more when this man came into power. So that's why I support him.
Well, I'll tell you what, Murph, and once again, no disrespect, but that's not enough. I mean, what he did with Iran alone was ridiculous. Just because he's black, that's not enough. It's the content of his character. That's what I'm questioning. That was ridiculous what he did with Iran. He also weaponized the IRS against so-called right-wing political people. So the fact that he's African American, no, it's not enough.
Hey, Michael.
It's not about that.
Michael, I said this earlier. I'm not the political guy. You think that I pay attention to all that stuff? I'm being honest. A lot of people say, you sound ignorant. You should be well aware of all this stuff. Listen, I'm like most Americans. We're ignorant to all that stuff. Not because we say it's not important. We care about the truth. We care about war and all that stuff. But we don't have enough time to dive into it like you sound like you have enough time to. So we go based off the surface stuff, the stuff that makes us feel good.
Let me just say something here.
Go ahead.
Because I agree with Michael. And obviously, listen, I understand you're coming at it from the perspective of a black person, an African-American person. What do you prefer, black person or African-American person, or you don't care?
I don't care.
Okay. So, obviously, first black president.
Yeah.
You felt that was somebody that you'd want to vote for him based on that. You didn't even vote, though. That's what bothers me is you're talking about political and non-political.
I want to offer an abstract opinion, if I may, at your leisure, if I may offer an abstract opinion.
Go ahead.
With all due respect, and as I said, I've spoke to you a dozen times. I call in a lot. I love this show. If, and this is a big if, like IF capital, you needed an African American, I say Lieutenant Colonel Allen West. I would campaign for that guy. I am not a racist. I'm into anybody who supports a constitutional pursuit of happiness agenda.
And you telling me Obama didn't do that? What did he tell you?
Obama was an abomination. Please, he weaponized the IRS against the right wing. Oh, come on, Murph. Really? Do you really want to go into this?
No, you're on the money, Michael. Please, you got don't waste your energy
Michael,
with Mert. I agree with you.
There would be no change in your mind.
I respect you, Murph.
No.
Murph,
Listen.
I've spoken with you.
Michael, listen. Michael, listen to me. Because you're into this political thing and all that stuff. You're into this very deep.
That's what we're talking about, Murph.
No.
We're talking about politics.
That's what you'd like to talk about.
That's what we're talking about.
I'm not Frank Morano.
We're talking about politics.
Hey, Michael, you gonna listen?
We're talking about politics, Murph.
Michael, have you heard me talking about politics through this whole show? Have you heard me?
I have socks that are older than you.
He has socks.
I have stocks that are older than you.
What does that have to do with what I've been talking about this whole time?
We're talking about politics, Murph.
No, that's what you're talking about. But you know what?
That's what we're talking about.
You know what? I'll let you have that because I don't want to argue with somebody who has a personal hate for Obama.
I don't think that's true. First of all, that's not true. He didn't say he has a personal hate for Obama. He's saying he doesn't agree. No, can you stop? You're being silly, and Michael is trying to make the point is he has no problem with Obama personally. He has a problem with his policies.
Listen,
he has a problem with his agenda. He doesn't care that he's black. He'd vote for an African American if he agreed with him. He just said he'd vote for Colonel Allen West. He doesn't support Obama.
He hates Obama.
That's not true.
He hates the man.
You know what, Michael? You're wasting your time. You're never going to get through to this guy. I totally agree with you. I know you're not a racist.
I love your show, and Murph, I don't have a beef with you. You're a good guy.
It's all fun.
Have a good day.
Michael, thank you. Thank you for calling in. We appreciate it.
I don't need you raising your voice like you're going to do something. He wanted to debate me. I don't know why you decided to jump in.
Because, listen, the reason...
He didn't tag you in. He didn't need your help.
No, the reason I wanted to get involved because I wanted to try to help articulate what he was saying. He was getting a little upset. He was a little emotional. That's what you do. You frustrate people with this nonsense.
Oh, now it's my fault. I'm just sitting here.
It is your fault.
Innocently sitting here. And this guy's getting emotional. See, I didn't take it personal, though, because I understand where he's coming from.
Listen to me.
I don't hate Trump, by the way, either. So how does he feel about that? He really takes things personal.
I take things to heart.
Yeah, so I can understand how somebody questioning your authenticity could offend you, could make you feel sad.
Yeah.
I'll give you one of my worst experiences on Thanksgiving.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Being a picky eater, the way I am, I'm going to give you some insight into the character and the unique traits of Mertavius.
Yeah, you have a really weird diet.
I don't like a lot of foods. I don't like ketchup. I don't like hot dogs. I don't like hamburgers, but I will eat a hamburger if it's plain. I don't like ribs unless they're plain ribs. I don't like barbecue sauce. I don't like a lot of stuff.
You don't like all the best parts of the food.
I don't like a lot of stuff.
Okay. How about Thanksgiving, though?
But I did like macaroni and cheese out of the box.
Oh.
I like that Kraft macaroni and cheese with the shells and stuff like that out of the box.
That's the worst one.
That Mom would go get from the store and make for me just on a whim. And then one Thanksgiving, they played an old horrible trick on Mert, but they didn't know they were playing a horrible trick. They thought they were doing something out of kindness to their heart.
How old were you when this happened, by the way?
I was young. I was probably like 10 or 11.
Okay.
Everybody knows Mert is a picky eater. And they say, hey, would you like some macaroni and cheese? I say, sure. I love macaroni and cheese. But they give me this stuff in a pan. This macaroni and cheese in a pan. This nonsense in a pan that's supposed to be macaroni and cheese. I've never seen anything like this.
Homemade macaroni and cheese.
I don't want homemade. I want the Kraft in the box macaroni and cheese. What is this homemade stuff?
What is wrong with you?
This isn't 1855. I want the stuff from the store. They know how to make it. They know how to, and it's always the same.
Oh, that's disgraceful.
So they give me this macaroni and cheese in a pan, and you cut it up, and it's in squares and stuff like that, and I eat it, and it ruined the whole Thanksgiving because once I got that nasty taste in my mouth, I couldn't get rid of it. And I tried with each and every fiber of my soul to rinse my mouth out. Toothpaste wouldn't do it. Mouthwash wouldn't do it.
Who made this mac and cheese that you're insulting, by the way? Don't tell me your mother made this mac and cheese, did she?
Listen, I don't go in the kitchen when the women are in there making the macaroni and cheese and all that stuff and cooking. Whoever made it. I just show up when it's time to eat.
Jamaica, she wants to talk about my cooking, believe it or not.
Let's go with Dolores. Dolores.
Dolores, you're on Morano in the morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you guys doing over there?
We're doing good, Dolores.
Yeah, Merc, I'm mad with you, Merc.
Whoa, wait a minute. What did I do?
Wait, Merc. I just woke up and I was hearing this conversation and I had to sit on the side of the bed.
Uh-oh.
Merc, you don't know how many men or how many women out here would love to have their partner in the kitchen with them. And here you come and talk about my favorite dish. You don't like the homemade mac and cheese.
Listen, Dolores, it's nothing personal. It's just I have my taste. What can I do? I can't do nothing. I can't do nothing, Dolores. What I'm supposed to do?
Wait a minute. I will get back to that, but before I forget, I want to give kudos to Brian. Brian, don't stop what you're doing. You keep on being in that kitchen with your wife. And you keep on making that mac and cheese, Brian, 'cause it is the best macaroni and cheese. Okay, Mert, what you got to say?
I got to say, Dolores, you're trying to make this guy, this man who should be doing manly stuff like putting in light bulbs and changing tires and picking up stuff from the grocery store. He's strong. You can handle that stuff in the kitchen. You probably cook way better than Brian. Why should he?
I don't have a choice. I'm by myself. If I want to eat, I better cook it, and it better taste good. But back to the light bulbs. How many times a light bulb blows out?
But how many times would you like a man to be there in case it does? It's about the role.
Good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Joe, do you remember last time you were on? We put you on hold for so long, you actually fell asleep. We went to you, and you were snoring on the air. And I hope it wasn't us that put you to sleep.
Oh, no, not at all. I was a little bit too comfortable. I was in a recliner.
Oh, okay. Well, what's on your mind?
Okay. It's a familiar topic to anyone who's been listening to my calls for any length of time. It's regarding the mass media and our election cycle.
Let me ask you this question, because you're saying we're not educated about the political candidates, and you're accurate about that. But I would ask you this. How much life do we live in general, separate from politics? How much other stuff do we have to be educated about? Because it sounds like you might have time to dive into this stuff. But if you don't have time, you're working, 60 hours a week because you're trying to get, earn some extra money. When do we have time to look into all this stuff instead of trusting the programs we choose to view? Because it's our choice to view this stuff.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you that for the average American, he has quite a bit of time to make for video games, for ball games, for television consumption, what have you. I mean, Americans watch way too much television than they ordinarily should. And instead of spending that time on internet sources, going to objective information outside of the mainstream media, the easiest thing to do is to turn on the television screen and watch ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, what have you.
Now, Joe, you're a smart you're a smart guy, but do you know why that is? You know why we do that, right?
Convenience.
No. It's for survival. You want to fit in, right? What's the worst thing you can do in society? It's not fit in. We all want to be on the same page, so this stuff you're talking about, we need to be more independent and read and all that stuff, that sounds nice and well, and that sounds logical until you put it into practice. And then you go and you start reading your separate sources and all this stuff, and you find out all this information, and you come to a center point and you realize, I haven't been looking into the same stuff you have because my interests are going to be separate. So we go to a common place and we all get the same information so we can all be on the same page.
What do you think about that, Joe?
And that's just it. Being on the same page, following the herd, that's the very detrimental point that I'm actually trying to make, is that the fact that most people are willing to follow whatever the crowd is doing, whatever the mainstream media is doing, is leading us to a very dangerous place in terms of immigration, in terms of domestic policy, in terms of our foreign policy, these endless wars and military crusades in the Middle East. Again, I understand most people are conformist by nature.
That's human nature. That's human nature.
Yeah.
Listen, you're going to be you're going to be the guy. You're going to be the guy who eats the poisonous berries when everybody else is eating the stuff that's legit. That's going to be you. Because you didn't follow the herd. That's what
you're saying. You're saying that the mainstream media is legitimate. What I'm trying to tell you is that these media corporations, these 4 or 5 handful of media corporations, have an agenda in controlling that mass media. They want to shape the narrative to fit that agenda. And again, when you have a handful of corporations controlled by a few dozen men effectively controlling public opinion, that is de facto political control in a democracy. And that is the real ruling power in a democracy. And you have to understand who these men are, what their agenda is, and how to counteract it.
I agree with you, Joe. And you know what the problem is? And I don't know if I agree with everything you say because I know you have some controversial thoughts, but I just want to say is that's what they want, Mert. They want to keep us fat and happy. They want to keep us dumb, and they want to keep us entertained. And I love entertainment and all this stuff as much as the next guy, but to what fault are we taking entertainment and making that a priority over what's really important in life? Because while we're all looking the other way at the next big movie or the next big show or the next restaurant opening up, they're doing all this stuff behind and that's what they want. And that's what they had until we elected Trump, in my opinion. That's what we had. And now we have somebody who is shedding light on what's been really going on. Joe, do you agree with that?
Well, I'll tell you, in part, one of the things that, has really been an innovation over the last couple of decades has been, to a smaller degree, the Internet, the independent blogs, the conservative columnists, etc. But more importantly, it's been talk radio. In addition to talk radio and the Internet, those two things really have propelled a separate sphere of conservative thought that's really galvanized conservative voters towards candidates like Donald Trump.
No, that's
and
not
Donald Trump
Joe.
has indeed.
Joe.
Yeah.
You're just creating another herd. That's all you're doing. Stop trying to talk. You're not going to get me with this stuff you might get other people with. You're just creating another herd. Because if the stuff you're watching and viewing to make you as smart as you are, if that becomes popular, what do you think is going to happen? People are going to flock to that.
Well, listen.
You're going to create a herd wherever you go. So what do you want? What do you really want? You want people to follow you. That's what you want.
I want Americans to view other sources besides that 4 or 5 media corporations that control 90% of what you hear, see, and read.
Joe.
Now, that being said, I want to, just let you understand that there's one compact place to find out exactly who these men are, what their agenda is, and basically their effect on the electorate and our political
All right,
process.
give it to us, Joe. What is it?
Okay, it's Who Rules America. It's a documentary that was published by National Vanguard Books, and you can find it on the Internet. You have to Google it specifically. Who Rules America, AMFIR. Again, that's Who Rules America, AMFIR, because the nice boys over at Google deliberately try to obscure the website so you can't find it. So again, that's Who Rules America, AMFIR.
All right. That's enough. Right? I'm going to hang up on Joe. Does he have any stock in that book? I think he talks about that book every time he comes on, whether every show. I know he's been on Joe Piscopo's show, on Frank's show.
But his thing with Joe.
Yes.
He doesn't realize that there's a herd he's in. He just doesn't realize it. That's why you have the Internet and all those sources. Because that's a different herd right there. The people who want to be free thinkers. And in reality, they all think the same way too.
We don't have a free Internet anymore.
No,
because it's controlled by, like, the same thing the media is saying. It seems like the Internet
is not controlled.
Twitter is controlled by one guy. Google's controlled by one person. Facebook's controlled by somebody. So that's where we go. We don't even call it search anymore.
No, that's America. Somebody created those things, so they should be able to benefit off of it. That's what you're talking about. You don't want to take that away from people. They created that, so they should be able to own it.
What they're doing is they're censoring people. They're censoring conservatives, people that don't fit their agenda, that they disagree with.
Make a conservative Facebook.
And unfortunately, the problem is when it comes to conservatives, is that they're not the keenest when it comes to social media. It seems like the liberals, they're the ones that control entertainment. They're the ones that make the interesting movies. Conservatives are great when it comes to talk radio, when it comes to writing books. But for the masses, a lot of times, they want the flashy thing. And conservatives don't necessarily always have that. That's what I love about Trump. He brought some of that flashiness. He had to do that. Because, unfortunately, Mert, when you're dealing with another team, say like the Democrats, that are essentially a bunch of no-good cheaters.
Wasn't Trump a Democrat at one point?
Yeah, he was, and he saw the light.
Okay.
They're a bunch of cheaters.
Okay.
That's the way they are. Excuse me, let me just say something real quick. You can't just always be fair and play by the rules. I remember when George W. Bush was president. I voted for him twice. And you know what happened at the end of his presidency? He came across like a weakling. He was a shell of himself because he let that happen to him. You see Trump? He's the only president who hasn't aged.
Bush wasn't weak. He just didn't care.
He became no. They weakened him.
Bush.
And look at him now. Now he wants to be accepted by them now.
Listen, and they're accepting him because I hear Joy Reid all the time talking about how much she loves.
Of course,
Bush.
But
Guess what though?
Of course, because he's not Trump. Now they love him. Now he's not Hitler.
Once you become president of the United States, what other goal is there in politics? Listen. Bush was a powerful man. He got bored. He said, all right, I'm president. I want it again. What next? Oh, this is what it is? Okay, I'm going to let people talk. I'm going to let people have their own opinions. I'm going to let people say what they want to say because I've already done what I wanted to do. It's like somebody who gets all the money in the world, and they say, is this it? No, they go start businesses. They start doing things. Because when you get to that pinnacle, when you win the championship, you need another thrill. You don't die after you become the president. So this is what happened to Bush. He won the president. He won it twice. Come on, man. How many people do that?
Okay, well, listen to me.
How many presidents have done that?
Unfortunately,
that's an interesting question.
We need Frank here for that, as much as I love presidential history.
That would be an interesting question.
But listen, Mert, we have to take a break, okay? Campaign. This is put out by Davani, this athletic apparel company. In this ad, which I think is absolutely atrocious, it has our great president, President Donald Trump, and he is bound in red, white, and blue rope while an angry woman looming over him presses her foot on his face. Now, this ad is so controversial, this ad in Times Square by Davani, that Planned Parenthood, who was associated with this ad, is actually coming out and denying their association with it, and they're actually saying that they want nothing to do with this. They do not endorse this, and they will not accept any funds associated with this. Now, I find this absolutely disgusting. Times Square, New York City, the President of the United States being portrayed in this violent, vile manner.
Mm-hmm.
And this is acceptable somehow in this city. This leftist city.
Yes.
What do you think about this, Mert? What is your take on this? Now that I've kind of laid it out here about this controversial billboard.
You're asking the wrong guy here.
What are you talking about?
I'm not sensitive. Listen, I was speaking to a bunch of older gentlemen.
Okay.
At the gym I go to, and they were telling me about old New York City and how it used to be. You know, you could find any vice you wanted to find. You go to Times Square, you could find it back in the days.
The bad old days.
So if this is the worst we have to deal with, is an ad with the president tied up and some woman over him punching him in the head, I'm assuming. Is that what the picture shows? That's basically.
Well, I said, yeah, not punching him in the head. He's down on the ground.
Yes.
It looks like he's in pain, and she has him tied up. She's strangling him. Of course, she's a woman, so she's put in a position of power.
Isn't that cute?
No, it's not.
It's cute.
Not.
It's
not.
Cute. It's cute.
First of all, wait a second.
It's cute.
It's not cute.
Who's going to tie the president up and do that to him? It's cute.
It's not. It's disgusting. It's not acceptable. And you know what? And it has nothing to do with what you're saying about the bad old days of New York City with all the sleaziness. This is promoting violence.
It's
okay.
Not. What do you think somebody's going to do? Go capture the president?
I have no idea. Unfortunately, in today's society.
But here's the thing, though.
You don't know. Yeah.
Here's the thing. People always want, when we make a joke or something like that, they say, oh, understand, I was just making a joke. We're just having fun. Everybody's so sensitive nowadays. It's not serious. It's a fake picture of the president being tied up. Well, listen.
What is that? But it doesn't matter if it's fake or not. It's the depiction of our president.
Listen,
I don't care what president this is.
If you want freedom of speech, I understand. You have the right to be outraged by it and offended, and we can talk about it. But if you come ask me, it doesn't bother me. It's just another example of freedom of speech. Now, if it was the actual president or it was his kids or something like that,
it is the actual president.
It's not him. He's somewhere in the White House or something, hanging out, having fun, eating gourmet food. He has chefs and all that stuff. He's having a good time. He's the president. He's not kidnapped. He's not. It's a fictional work of art.
But unfortunately, Mert, in today's society, you can't be careful enough. We can't be having this. I don't care. Like I said, if it was Barack Obama, somebody who I vehemently disagreed with,
yes,
somebody who I didn't vote for.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that this should be censored.
And
we shouldn't have that type of image of the president portrayed, or any leader for that matter.
And when they used to do the same thing to Barack Obama, I would say the same thing. You know why? Because they pay the top-notch of the top-notch people in this country, the Secret Service, the best in the world, to protect the president. So if you think this is going to happen, You don't have any faith in the Secret Service. Listen.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
Listen.
This is your take on this? I thought you were going to give me a more educated opinion on this.
No, this is educated, trust me. Because the sensitivity has gotten out of control.